Hello, fellow stroke survivors. In today's video, I want to clarify some things I talked about in the last video when I talked about prioritization. Now, some people have reached out that it seems I am advocating that we prioritize and focus solely on the priority and leave the other things behind. Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying we need to prioritize and choose something that we work on mainly. It doesn't mean that we don't do anything about the others. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm only saying, see, if you understand Pareto principle, okay, 80-20, right? Now, prioritization doesn't mean do 80-20, but maybe you do 50% of your, use 50% of your time for the main thing, the priority, and share the other 50% across all the other things. Maybe you use 40% of your time for the main thing and share this other 60% across the other things. Yes, this is very important because, well, there's a law in the universe that what you don't use, you lose. So if, for example, when I started prioritizing on my speech, I didn't just sit down every day and focus on my speech and left everything about my physical disability alone. No. In fact, while I was doing that, I go to the gym. I had a gym instructor, right? I started doing yoga about 6 years ago now. Yeah. I started doing meditation 6 years ago. So I'm still doing all those things, but my priority was my speech. Now, when I say speech, it was to reduce the impact of aphasia. That means my speech, my reading, my writing, my articulation. Because I knew that would be the most impactful for me. And it is. Now, I will now reverse that. I'm already doing that. Doing more work on my physical ability. Okay. But like I talked about in the other video, even though I'm going to focus more on my physical ability, I'm even going to segregate what I'm going to focus on. And I said, for me, right now, for the next 6 to 12 months, I'll focus on my working ability. But then I know that when I start working more, right, it will also affect the way my hand moves. Now, when I say, let me clarify this. I've been working. In fact, part of the things I've been doing for the last 8 years is walking. I walk maybe 2 to 3 miles when I step out of my house. I take a walk. It's a long distance in my neighborhood. It's taking time. I do that two, two to three times a week in the summer. Now, in the winter, it's much more difficult because I may not be able to do 100 meters because the cold diminishes my ability to walk. You see, my muscles on my affected side is as if they shrink and I can't walk at all outside. So what I'm doing is that I focus on my walking, and I'm going to get a coach specifically to help me with that, to teach me how to move. Even though I've been walking all my life, but somehow it's difficult to know how. See, we walk without even thinking about it. Now I need somebody to teach me, this is how you do it. So I need to learn it again, and as I will start walking that way consistently until I get better at it. See, on my affected side, the temperature on that side is very low all day long. So the workout I'm intending to do is to also help me or help my body to elevate the temperature on that side. Because like I said, what we don't use, we lose. So I have never stopped working on my physical ability, but I have prioritized on my speaking ability, and that is how I got this good. Unfortunately, I can't show you how bad it was because in those days I didn't think it was necessary to record all these things. If only I had videos to show you, then you know how much improvement I have gained. In fact, like I talked about in some of previous videos, I started many businesses. When I started my first business, I could hardly speak. Yeah, I'm telling you, I could hardly speak. So people who know me, who have known me for a long time, they see me and they haven't seen me for a few years. Whenever they see me or they hear me talk, they say, wow. Yes, because they know how bad it was. So I'm not asking anyone to abandon working on all things, but I'm saying what I did is to prioritize, and it has helped me. Maybe try it and see how it goes. Okay? Like I said again, what we don't use, we lose. And I don't want anyone to lose abilities. So don't abandon any particular thing, but do a little bit, but focus on your priority. All right? Take care. Bye.